Got no reason to be sad. I'm not needing to look back.
So, very excited because this is my first English edition of my new show, Songs and Conversations with Karen. So, I have a glass of wine with me. And I want to cheers to my first English version of the show. The show is basically about music, art, and people, my three favorite subjects. And how do they connect? I'm very interested in how, in learning more about the life of the artist behind the work. I'm interested in understanding the motivations of artists and how their lives are, work, and how their paths develop and the challenges they overcome. And I'm very interested in the behind the scenes as to why people create, how they're connected to their music, to their art, what drives them. So difficult sometimes, and I think it's fantastic when people dedicate their lives to art. And today I'm actually going to be joined by two friends of mine who I have known for 20 years. And their names are Cornel Gabara and Irene Alby. And I met them while studying directing at Columbia in 2000. That's when we met, so 20 years ago. And they were together then as a couple, and they're together now. They're actors, they're directors, they're teachers. Very inspiring, the way that they've combined family life and art, theater, which is my first love. We haven't seen each other for, I would say, I think the last time I saw them was 15 years ago. 15 years ago. And so I'm excited to see what it's going to be like to see each other after 15 years. So I'm going to let them in now. Very excited. So Irene and Cornell, here goes. I asked them to bring some wine as well. Let's see how this goes. Woo!
Cheers! Oh my
Yeah!
What are you doing?
You look exactly the same.
So do you.
Yeah,
Really?
Oh, it's so good to see you. Hold on.
This is
Let
so
me get rid of this
cool.
virtual background here. How do I get rid of that?
Yeah,
there we go.
Oh, there you are.
There we are.
Wow, this is incredible. I was just saying before you joined that we haven't seen each other for, I believe, 15 years.
I know, at
15
least.
at least.
Right?
Yeah, probably
We left New York 2004.
No.
Wow. No.
No, 2004, sweetheart.
So it's been 16 years.
Yeah.
Last I saw you was in Queens when you were pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh, you never met?
No, you just had your first daughter, I believe.
Oh,
Queens, right?
Yeah.
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 I came to visit.
Oh my God! Cheers! So good to see
I know,
you.
it's wonderful, and just for you, I got my theater things out. I have my mask and my cabaret, especially for you.
Oh, we have the mask too. Hold on.
So there you are. I'm ready. I'm ready to. Oh, there you go. So I'm ready. Hold on. That did Cornell make that?
No. Mine are at school.
Okay.
But mine are. I don't know. Did you send her the
Oh,
pictures
I'll send you the photo of his mask. Yeah, he made a whole set.
I remember you were making masks.
Yes, because he teaches commedia, and he has a whole set. But you know, the lockdown happened so quick that we kind of left everything there, thinking that we would be back after spring break, and we haven't been back to the office since.
So I first of all I just want to congratulate you for still being in the theater.
And still being together after coronavirus.
And still being together, yeah.
And together. together and in theater. I don't know which is more admirable. But I will tell you that I really find it inspiring that you guys are still acting, directing, and the photos you send are incredible. I mean, what a huge body of work. I mean, it's amazing.
But, but listen, I'm amazed by you and your singing and playing piano and your 4 kids and looking amazing.
I've taken it a whole other direction.
Oh my gosh. It's like, I feel the same way about you. And Guy, how's he?
Guy is great. He's the same as he was. You know, some things never change. And that's a good thing, right?
He's smiling all the time.
I know, I know. And the kids
still helping me. I mean, even now, so I can have my Zoom meetings, he's putting the kids to bed and making food. I could never have done all of this without him.
I know, he's
amazing. I
amazing.
want to hear all about you, and I actually have some questions I wrote. I've got them on my iPhone. So that we'd be, you know, efficient. And so this will be interesting to the viewers because, you know, it's, I want to, them to really get to know you. So I'm not going to ask too much about lockdown because that's, you know, already old news. I'm going to jump straight to I guess the fact that when we met, you were studying acting, both of you. And today you're acting, you're directing, you're teaching. And I want to ask you, first of all, about how you combine these 3 things. Is there still one of them that you love the most? How are they different from each other? And maybe you can start by saying what your current roles are at the university and then sort of try to answer that question.
Sure.
If you don't mind.
Yeah,
I mean, you probably know that I was actually an engineer before I was an actor and director.
I remember.
But that's because, I mean, the situation in Romania at the time, it was a little bit different, forced by situations to try to get into a university. And it was pretty difficult to get into acting class or things like that because the competition was huge. And considering for boys military service, military service being very well, how should I say, interconnected with the university, it was easier to be in the military service would have been easier if you were accepted at the university. So I got into engineering because it was easier for me. And then I changed it because that's all I wanted to do, acting, since as long as I remember, since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
But then you know, life comes, and in New York, it was a little bit difficult to get a job as an actor. The kid was on the way, and we realized that actually we need health insurance, we need a stability and a more stable future. So we were looking for also teaching acting jobs. But the moment you start teaching acting, you realize that actually slowly you become a director. You have to teach the students how to think on stage. And if you remember what we've learned from our professors at Columbia, that actually as an actor you have to be a little bit to think as a director. And the more you get into that, plus we were so influenced by such big directors. I mean, Anne Bogart, Andre Chaban, and Woodruff. I mean, it rubs on you. You get the bug. Absolutely. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
actually, it's interesting looking at the pictures. I could really see those influences.
Yeah, absolutely.
In your work, totally.
Absolutely.
It makes amazing. And I see like Columbia and everything we learned in them.
And it wasn't just the professors. I'm telling you. I mean, I have so wonderful memories working on Uncle Vanya. I mean, I've learned so much. I've learned so much.
Yeah, you know, I found photos before I want to hear more, but I just want to say I found photos and there was no iPhone then. So they're all in an album. And we don't,
Yeah,
we had to
at the ones.
Yeah, you can hardly see them. It's so fuzzy, and we had to take photos of them, and you know, but in those times.
So for me, you know, it's been an interesting journey. I mean, so we taught for 12 years at the University of Toledo, and that was a BA program. It was an urban university, and you know, we got students of all kinds and all backgrounds. There was a lot of talent, but a lot of it was really raw talent. And we had such a freedom to be innovative and avant-garde and try things. And the students were willing to take the ride with us, you know.
you know, being parents to 2 kids and doing directing and acting, how did that work?
Well, you know, so our older kid, yeah, I mean, when we moved to Toledo, Nick was a baby. He was a baby. And the first year we were there, we were just visiting assistant professors. Actually, I was only part-time. Then we both got positions. And so literally we had a friend who would watch our baby between classes for 15 minutes because we had an overlap of 15 minutes, but they were really good at making a schedule that would interfere. And later when we became full-time, the same thing. I taught in the morning, he taught in the afternoon, and we took turns directing. And that's how we did it. And we would bring Nick with us. I mean, he came to workshops, he came to rehearsals, you know, and the kids are 6 years apart. So that made it easier as well, because when
that's incredibly inspiring, in my opinion, because I think a lot of people stop being in the theater because they have a family and they can't deal with the hours and the survival in terms of money. And so they put it behind them and they say, well, I had, you know, that was my dream, but now I'll have a family, I'll get it. And I think the fact that you've managed to do that and continue doing what you love is incredibly inspiring to me. I mean, it's certainly something that I don't think everybody is able to succeed at. So well done. So the next thing I want to know, and I basically, I really am interested in this, is, you know, how you as a couple, like, is there ever competition between you, for example?
I don't think there's competition. I mean, we share an office. That's sometimes great and sometimes hard.
Yeah, actually we share everything, you know.
Yeah, we do. Students, offices, family. But so
yeah,
we're actually 24 hours.
24/7. So the lockdown is really your life. Nothing changed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we mostly work well together. I think I've never directed Cornel. I think that would be very interesting. I don't know how that would go. I guess that's the one.
Has Cornel directed you?
He has, yeah.
Oh.
He has several times, and I've directed a lot without him being involved. But yeah, so I think that would be an interesting thing.
Yeah.
But we work together on projects, you know. I mean, you know, one thing that I want to say is that, you know, when you're teaching, you're also serving a group because you're giving something back, and I think that's really rewarding.
Wow.
That's you know,
strong. And let me just think about that a second, because I love that, because
it gives you a real sense of purpose.
It does, and I think sometimes when you're on stage or trying to promote yourself in your craft, it can feel a bit, you know, narcissistic or egoistic or whatever, and you feel a little bit like, oh, I have to show myself again. But when you're giving back, you overcome that sense of shame, I think.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And what's interesting for me, I mean, I have definitely become a better actor through teaching and directing. And now that I teach directing, I mean, I actually feel that directing is even more my thing in a way. Although moving here to WVU, we're really close to Pittsburgh, so I've started acting again more. And so, you know, and I still love it, but I definitely think it's given me more confidence in my own work and in my own ability to do stuff.
That's amazing. I think it's really important, actually, what you just said. Cornel, you wanted to add something there.
Yeah, I want to say that actually, because we are a little bit different in our artistic expression. I mean, I told to Irene sometimes I'm very jealous because I think she's a better director than I am in the sense that
but it depends.
Because
not for classics. He does amazing stuff with classics, with Shakespeare and Chekhov, and I do other stuff. So we're very different.
But that is because I think she's a little bit more free. I think that I have to stand up to. I mean, I have to stand up to a standard that people put on me, and that makes me scared of failure. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah,
and that is really this is really bad. While I think Irene is more free, and Irene is allowing herself to find things that I am a little bit reluctant to check, especially if I do not have enough time for rehearsal, for example, when I direct. But as an actor, it's a little bit different, because as an actor I am more free in the sense that I don't have to represent myself as much as a director with a vision and stuff.
Right.
I can just blame it on the character. Okay, that's what
so you need right. So as a director, there's a bit of an ego in there, because you kind of play a role and you need to be kind of like, or you don't have to, but there is something there in the stereotype of a director being, this leader,
right? Always with the bow tie and stuff,
right? And prove himself and be good, and everybody should respect him. And I think,
but as an actor, because I am more of a character actor, and because I was so much influenced by the commedia and by absurdism, and where you can allow yourself, you can allow the character to go anywhere, absolutely anywhere.
It's very freeing.
It's very freeing, and actually I use this a lot in my acting teaching, because it's an amazing tool for actors to free themselves.
I love this conversation. I feel like we're having like coffee at the Hungarian coffee shop. I mean, nothing, right? And we could go on for hours, because the level of conversation is so like feels right, and unfortunately don't have that all the time. It's like there's something about the time we spent together and the kinds of people we knew, and the the level of conversation we were part of in terms of art, that is very, I think, I feel like it's I missed it. I missed it.
Oh my gosh, see, we have to
I really
get together and do it more.
Well, after this we'll just plan a whole load of things to do. And I have to say that I'm no longer waiting. I'm doing things now. If I want to work with someone, see someone, there's no tomorrow. We've just got to do things.
Yes.
But I think you sent me so many pictures, and there's a huge body of work. We can't talk about everything. So what I wanted to do was each of you, I mean, I can tell you just what I saw. I saw three sisters, beautiful, beautiful pictures. Love to hear about that. Machinal looks incredible. 12 Angry Jurors looks fantastic. I mean, all of this stuff looks fantastic in the pictures. But I'd love for you guys, and I also want to say that I followed you when you were doing Julius Caesar.
Oh, fun.
I was following you, and so that interests me. But you guys each need to pick one piece, because we don't have time, and tell me which piece, why you picked it, and tell us a little bit about why that piece is important to you, or something that you feel you learned, or that you. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So for me, I mean, the reason I sent you Machinal is because I really feel that it was. I do a lot of movement and stylized movement, and I work a lot with video, and I haven't been able to do that as much recently. But I think that that's really my thing, is not just working with video, but viewpointing to video, you know, having the video become a character in and of itself, not just a background, right? And this is something that really interests me and inspires me. And so for me, I mean, that was really part of my journey, because it's interesting that he said he feels more free as an actor. I feel more free when I'm directing. I feel like I can, I mean, as an actor, I feel like I have a duty to get it right. Whereas as a director, I have the duty to just have fun and try stuff and experiment and see where it goes. Yeah, I feel, so he's talking about a freedom, and I definitely feel that. I mean, I still love acting, but you know, Mackinac, I mean, I love to work in the expressionist style. I really, I like, my thing is I like to take puzzles. I like to take plays that are sort of puzzles and solve the puzzle and find a way to put it together. And I think Mackinac was kind of a synthesis of all of that in one, you know, because I've also worked on Carol Churchill, and I like to take something and try to find a different point of view that still reflects the text, you know, because I do like to make it my own, but I always want to come back to the playwright. I never want to sort of just put my own thing on it and forget about the playwright. And so Mackinac, because I was working with a film student who was really open to trying all kinds of film things, we were able to add a whole layer of sort of the play is based on the trial of the first woman who went to the electric chair and the exploitation of the media. So we were able to add, I mean, you don't see that in the video, but we were able to add a whole layer of sort of media reporting on this person as she was being taken away. And then we had the lover in the play come back, and he'd published a book about her. It was like, you know, I knew her before she did this, right? And he got famous because of that. So we had this whole element of sort of the exploitation of this tragedy, or this, you know, I mean, obviously the woman is still guilty. I mean, she commits a crime.
It's a play from 1928, correct?
It is, which makes it public domain, which is also nice because then you have the freedom.
So
I mean,
it's
I actually
like a classic, really. You can do, it's like a classic play you can do. So that's incredible. I saw the video. It was incredible. And I think I need to go back and read the play. If I really want to understand what you did there. so that's on my to-do list. But well, thanks. So that's a great experience to have. So Cornel, what would you pick to talk about, and why?
Well, I think to a certain degree, probably because you mentioned 12 Angry Jurors and Three Sisters. To a certain degree, although I took them as first of all, I like the text. I mean, Chekhov, you know, and I think I established and I nailed down my love to Chekhov. Actually, working with you on Uncle Vanya.
That's really touching.
it is, because you remember we had a time when we explored honestly the text, and you remember there were moments where we were like, probably there's not. We were passionate about that thing, but in the end it was so honest, and I think that made it so successful. I still remember your tears in your eyes when you said that, and Bogart said that it was the best Uncle Vanya that you saw in a long time. And I think it was like, wow, we did it because we were honest and eager, you know what I mean? And that was
we were
so
also
nice.
A great group. I don't know, like we had this chemistry, and we all just, there was something, you know, where everyone just connected, and you came into the room and everything was alive, and everybody brought themselves raw, and we were at an age, I guess, also with where maybe even, you know, we had dreams and hopes, and maybe that clashed, like that energy maybe even clashed with the text in a way, and made it even more, you know, vibrant in that respect.
Yeah,
so I think maybe that sort of subtext of actually being at a stage when you're alive and you know, hopeful, and to actually speak text which is about the opposite, I think that probably created a great energy. So
and it's I mean, the way I approach, because we're talking about these two, right? 12 Angry Jurors and I want to talk about both in parallel, because I just realized, as you said, like, oh my God, there were two cages. I mean, basically there are two cages, though the plays in terms of set, there are two cages. Okay, in Three Sisters, the cage lifts itself after the first act, but it's about the entrapment of the situation. So actually, how often do we catch ourselves in life? I mean, being entrapped. And great great playwriting. It revolves around a human or a group of humans entrapped in a situation, and ultimately that's what we are dealing with, human nature, right? That's our raw material.
It would actually be interesting for me to look at Uncle Vanya again now.
I know, I was going to say, we should do it.
I think I would, I don't know.
Probably. Wouldn't that be awesome?
It would do it again with the same cast.
Yes.
I can play the professor now.
Yeah, I don't know if I can still do Yelena.
We'll do the roles. We'll change it up. But
we were too young then.
No, it doesn't matter. There's no age to these characters. It actually would be interesting to play them at different ages. I mean, it's that one thing I learned at Columbia is there's no age to characters, there's no race to characters. Anyone can play anything. And the minute you juxtapose different people, there's new meaning, and different levels come out, and it just makes the play better. So I mean, I think that's
true.
I'm excited. I'm a little sad, I have to say, because I really don't think that I appreciated at the time, like how like the theater and how important that was. And I think I was looking for other things in life. But I'm not that sad. but a bit of nostalgia there, as me. But I'm glad. But I really see your work has developed, and beautiful photos, and of course, I'll share them with everybody who watches this video. But let's see what else I have here for you, because I did prepare. And I think the next question that I wanted to ask, I think now is a good time I'm thinking about even myself when I finish Columbia. What I wish there had been someone to get advice from. Like, I don't feel like I had anyone to really speak to. I spent all that money, I'm still paying that loan. But at the end, when it ended, it was like, here I am stranded in the middle of New York, and like have no idea what to do with that education. And it was I didn't feel there were enough people to talk to about creating a path. Or maybe people did speak to me and I couldn't hear them at the time. But what would your advice be to someone finishing an MFA in acting or directing? Now in 2020, at this time, what would your advice be?
I think from my point of view, my advice is to students, and I mean, I don't teach the MFAs, but definitely to the BAs and the BFAs, is that this is a life path, or it can be. I mean, that you don't, because I totally know what you're talking about. I mean, we all had such a frenzy. It was like, we have to do it now. And oh my God, if we perform one night and it's not perfect, then people will see us and we suck and it's the end of the world and that's over. And it's not true. It's like, no, what you're gaining are technical skills. And those technical skills are the strongest thing, and they will sustain you even if you have an off night. I mean, the work has reached a level where even if you don't feel as good as last night, it's still good. And I think, you have a lifetime to do it. It doesn't end when you're 25 or 30.
That's right. There's no like deadline to succeed, prove yourself or leave. It's like, if I'm not in a Hollywood movie by the age of 30, I'll go be a lawyer,
Right.
And I think a lot of, that's a great piece of advice that you can continue for like your whole life. If you can.
I mean, I feel like I still have a long way to go. I don't feel anywhere near everything that I want to do yet, and I feel like, I think that starting to teach and having Nick as a baby started to make me think long term. It sort of took me out of that short term, you know, it has to be right now, just like this, with everybody, all the right people there, you know, and it was like, no, wait a second, this can be a life journey, you know, and I think that to me is the most important.
But you're also lucky you had the two of you together, because there's so many times where if someone isn't in the arts, they don't understand, and it's hard to, whether it's a parent or a spouse, to try to explain, you know, that the bug that we have, you know, and how important it is, even though sometimes it makes no sense whatsoever. So that's a great look at it long term, I think, and is a great way to think about it. What about you, Cornel? Oh, I mean, you can continue.
No, I was just going to say, like, we help each other and support each other, of course, because we do understand that we're also each other's worst critic and greatest fan. So I think,
not worst critic, the best critic.
Yeah. I mean, when we want to know the truth about our show, I mean, I go to Cornel and he tells me, and if it's good, I'm happy, and if it's like, I'm not happy, but I know it's the truth, you know. And so either way, it's the same. You know, we have that person to sort of check things off of.
You know, I think you asked what advice I would give once they are done. Actually, I think my advice, and I know that I start first semester with giving advice. First class actually said you have to make sure that you know what you want. Or at least make sure that you are asking that question every day. And it's not just every day, it's every moment, because to be an artist is not a 9-to-5 job. You know, it's a way of living. You live 24/7 being an artist. You are an artist. You are not a person that happens to do some stuff in between. No, this is who we are, and this is my advice, and I keep reminding them every 2-3 weeks. Like, are you sure? Because there are moments, we all know there are moments when you feel like, okay, you know what, I'm done. Throw my.
I suck. I suck.
I suck.
That's it. I'm the worst. I'm the worst singer in the world. I'm terrible. I have no right being there. Right. Okay.
That's another thing. That's another thing. Yeah.
Voices.
I feel, I'm an imposter or something like that.
Right, I shouldn't be here, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, in the end, I mean, why am I here? I mean, I know, I remember, I got in being an artist, first of all, and this particular art form, because I wanted to learn more about myself. I wanted to know who I am, and not just me, but the world around me. I mean, I'm still not sure, does God exist?
You're thirsty. You're thirsty.
Because I'm still curious.
Yeah, you're curious. And that, I think that's the thing. I think Anne used to say that. Anne Bogart used to say, be curious. You know, like ask questions. Remember? It was all about asking great questions.
Yes.
And I think that's the basis, isn't it? When you stop asking questions and just look for answers, that's when it ends. And I have to admit, there were years where it ended for me. I mean, there were a lot of years that I didn't do it, but it came back because it's who I am, like you were saying.
Exactly.
And if you don't do what you're supposed to, and you're not who you are, you feel fake, you feel lost, you feel like you don't have a purpose, your life means nothing.
Sorry. Sometimes you feel that you are lost, even when you do what you want to.
That's true.
And even the if you are doing what you are good at, but I mean, in the end, as I'm learning, and I want to learn, because every stage in my life is different. It's gonna make me discover something else about myself, and about life is like I'm different. I'm developing like a Shakespearean character, you know, like Harold Bloom says. Harold Bloom says about the Shakespearean characters develop rather than unfold.
Yes, evolve.
I developing the way I said. I played Vanya. Probably it's time to play the professor. You know what I mean? Not that I understood Vanya 100%. I'm still working, and I'm using it in my class to teach Chekhov to my students, both undergrad and grad students. But why is that? Because I'm still looking for them. I'm still asking those questions. Who the heck is this dude? What is, why, you know what I mean? And those are questions that we asked ourselves 15 years ago, 16, 17 years ago.
Right.
And those are the questions that actually keep us like, wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. I'm waking up in the morning to ask again, you know.
And something that you said, Karen, that I think is so significant, you know, talking about ego, I think, you know, having a family, I think growing older, I think teaching shows us that there's really two paths, right? There's the path of the ego and the path of love. And I think when we were young, we all had ego. I mean, of course we wanted to do something.
That's for the top of the post for this page. There's the path of ego and the path of love. I mean,
yes.
Wow.
And this is actually something I do tell my students too. It's like, take the path of love. I mean, you're always on that tightrope. It's like what Peter Brook talks about. You're always on that tightrope where it could go towards ego or it could go towards love. It's like the heart and the mind are always struggling, right? But it's like, try to find the love. Try to find the love of the work. Always try to do that over the ego, because I remember having a performance that I thought was the most amazing performance ever, and I felt so good. And at the end of it, I felt like I was so great, and people said it was so good. And then I felt like, wow, is that it? Like,
right,
is that all there is?
Right.
Yeah, it's like, it's a
the next day there's an anticlimax, because you wake up and it's over, and you know, and you don't know if you'll be able to have another moment like that. So then what?
Tomorrow it might suck, and then everything lost then? Is everything gone just because I have a bad night?
And also another thing I've been thinking about lately is, let's say you do suck, okay, whatever that means. Does that mean you don't have a right to have a voice?
Right.
I mean, all right, I suck, but I have a voice and I deserve to be heard, even if I suck. So I think that's another point. It's like, not only great, good, clean, perfect voices need to be heard. Also, crappy voices need to be heard, you know, because they're just as real. So I think
you learn. It's all about what you learn. It's all about what you get out of it.
And the thing is also, it depends on how you suck, you know what I mean? Because if you suck honestly, that's one thing, you know?
Yeah.
If you're honest in your
if you suck honestly, that's fantastic.
But if you
do with heart.
Right. Okay.
Right. But if it actually is, if you're fake and you're like trying to like be someone you're not, that's the worst.
Yeah,
but I think, you know, we're so critical of ourselves. It's you know, just overcoming that frontal lobe, you know, and letting yourself be free, like you were talking. But there's so many interesting things coming up, and I just want to also just think, you were saying you feel like you've got so much more still, and so what about your dreams, hopes, plans? Like, what's next? What are you focused on now? You know, where do you want to take this?
Well, I can tell you, okay, so in the short term, I can tell you the short-term projects, and then I can tell you the long-term, you know, vision or ideal, or, you know,
go for it,
dream.
But, tell me like one sort of short term and then one dream.
Yeah. So in the short term, I'm acting again with Pittsburgh Shakespeare in the Park. I'm going to play Posthumous Leonato in Cymbeline. So that's exciting. I mean, pending, right? Because we don't know if theater will be back.
Maybe in the park it'll come back.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. You know, so that's one thing. In the long term, I mean, oh gosh, we've had so many dreams. You know, we're planning on starting a company, but we've always talked about touring. We've talked about, you know, we used to have a house picked out, like we had seen this beautiful house, and we were like, one day that'll be a theater in Italy, you know, that'll tour all over the world. I mean, we have lots of dreams. And obviously, you know, right now with everything that's happened, we've been doing a lot more video stuff. We never thought we'd be doing video stuff, because theater is all about being live.
That's absolutely true. It was even hard, even for me, to start, you know, doing things not live, you know, on the screen. There is something about people who are in theater who do find it difficult with all the technology and all of that. So, but now I guess I'm thinking of that, and I'm sure you are.
Yes.
How to incorporate technology.
Yes, exactly. We've been learning to, you know, we've got agents, and we've been learning to do auditions online and
right.
just even learning to film stuff. I mean, who knows? Who knows what we could do?
Well, I believe you can do anything you want. I mean, that's what I've seen so far. Let's put it that way. I mean, you guys are incredible, and just so glad that we're friends, even though we haven't seen each other for so long. It feels like that.
Let's change it. Let's see each other soon.
Yeah, well, now is not a good, I mean, again, suddenly, you know, the travel is difficult. When you can't, you want to more. But Cornel, do you have anything to add to sort of your plans or your thoughts?
Right. I mean, obviously, it's time to learn new tricks, you know. Forced by the circumstances and stuff like that. I was actually looking for a ticket to buy to go to South Korea because I had a show coming again with Hedy. If you remember.
Oh, with Hedy, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
to direct a show there, but now obviously everything is stopped. So what do we do now? Well, we have to do something. So Irene and I were trying to open up. Actually, tomorrow we said that we'll put our minds together to see how
to do the paperwork
to open a new theater company, and actually at this point I want to just put up some. I mean to mount a few plays and then present them for. Festivals or things like that.
To tour them.
Tour. It's also, I'm very much interested right now in absurdism. More than ever, because we live such absurdist time.
Hasn't life become even more absurd in the last 16 years?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I mean, looking back then, I think it was, even though then we thought it was complicated, so simple compared to what's going on now.
I'm telling you, absurdism is the new realism.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I mean,
absurdism is the new realism. I love that.
All we have to do is watch a press conference.
Sorry?
Absurdism is realism. What's absurd now?
That's I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's beyond us. I mean, I think
the only thing that it's absurd now is to have a definition about realism. That's an absurd thing.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one. I have so many things to like, so many, things to what's the word I'm looking like? Quotes from this conversation. And what I think we'll do is we'll kind of end the Zoom. I'll stop recording, but then we'll stay on.
Yeah,
we still want to talk. So at this point, just because I want to end the show, I want to say thanks, and I want to say that it was so much fun. The most fun I've had actually in months. Even though I've done these Zooms, this was just being with you guys in the Zoom space and reminiscing and talking about things that are important, and that's it. So thanks. And
thank you.
Yeah, and we'll do another one soon.
Absolutely.
I want to just tell everybody who's watching that we will do another one.
Definitely.
So I'm going to say bye, and then we'll stay on the line and talk a little.
Well, thank you so much for having us. It's so good to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye.